As he just said, my name is Christophe Bolinhas, and I'm one of the engineers working on the Ursanne project. So this project aims to revitalize the historical site of Ursanne and to improve its attractiveness. Ursanne, I'm sorry, just a quick bug. Because it's in conflict with another presentation. There. Yeah, quite ironic. So, what is Ursanne? So Ursanne is a small town in the canton of Jura that kept its medieval character, as you can see in those pictures, and that has an important cultural and religious heritage. So how to get there? So we are right here in Neuchâtel, near the blue dot, and Ursanne is around there, near the red dot. It's about 50 kilometers apart. And it's in the middle of the Jura. And as you can see, it's also very close to the French border and not that far from Germany. So what is there to see in Ursanne? So Ursanne has many historical buildings. So first off, a collegiate church that was built in the 12th century. Then we have next to it a cloister that was rebuilt in 1380. And it gives access directly to the Abbey Church, where many sarcophages were found in the 7th century, dating back from the 7th century, are stored, as you can see in the picture on the right. And finally, a bridge dating back to the 18th century, and where a lot of legends are tied to. There's also a lot of other things to see, but I'll let you visit to discover it. So why are we working on Ursanne? So because in 2020, there's the 1400th anniversary of Ursanne, and the pastoral committee of Ursanne is in charge of organizing a one-year-long event. And afterwards, we also have to keep the installations up and make them sustainable to keep the site attractive. So before I get to the projects, I will firstly talk about the team. So first we have the project lead, Magali Babet, that is in charge of making the communication between us and the pastoral committee. Then we have the gestion or management part of the Archerarch School that is in charge of all that is business plan and all that is communication strategy. Then we have the conservation restoration that is in charge of restoring different parts of the treasure of Ursanne that was kept in bad conditions. And so they have to analyze what is worth keeping and what is worth storing away and not showing at the museum in Ursanne. And finally, some familiar faces, I guess. That is our team, engineer team, that is in charge of creating a fun and entertaining way of showing the information about Ursanne. So our projects. So we have two projects, two proof of concept projects actually, that aim to promote Ursanne. So the first one is a web app that we are not showing at the event today, but we also have a mobile game that you can try outside in the demo area. So first off, the web app. The goal of the web app is to attract tourists. So you can see it as a 3D experience on your navigator, on your browser, sorry. And the goal is really, if someone is trying to plan his holidays to go in the Jura to visit historical sites, well, you can play the game and just discover some details about the site. So we don't want to give it all away in this app. We just want to captivate his attention and make him want to visit the site. Then in the game, he has to identify some historical pieces, or he has to find odd objects in the cloister. Like, for example, an AK-47 that's laying there. He has to find it and tell the game that it's wrong. And finally, we'll also want to make it adaptable to various ages. So if you're a kid, maybe you have a cartoon graphic type of game, and if you're an adult, maybe some more serious design like this one. Then we have the mobile game. So it's a geolocalized game. We came from the idea we were inspired by games like Pokemon Go, geocaching, or any scavenger hunt-like game. And so our goal is to create different interesting points in Ursanne and make them geolocalized for the player to then have to do guided storylines. So that's an example of maybe a potential storyline. So he starts in the red dot. He has to go to a point where he has to make a choice, and then based on the choice, he will have to take a different path. And with those paths, we want to also integrate the local businesses. So let's say you have a quest that you have to go to the bakery, then a baker NPC, virtual baker NPC tells you, I have to get flour to cook my bread. Then you have to go find the flour, bring it back, and maybe you get a discount voucher for the bakery. That way it promotes the local businesses. And we also want to integrate AR minigames. So you have an example, you can actually try it out outside. So it's a picture of the South Gate that is really impressive. It has a lot of details about the different saints. And with the AR minigame, you get a griffin. Yes, it's a griffin, it's not a dragon. You have a griffin that comes give you a flower of release. And with that, you can move forward to your next objective. Then we also want to modify the site as little as possible. So our goal is to add some AR tags in the city. That has another purpose, is also to help the players now know where they have to go exactly if they are a bit lost because of the imprecisions of the GPS. So the GPS helps them go there, and the AR tag also helps the game know where the player is. And we want, like the web app, make it adapted to various generations of players. So if families go there, we want it to be adapted to them. We want also for school trips, if the school goes there, have the game be adapted to them, or also just religious people that want to know exactly the religious history of the site. We don't want to force the game upon people, so we also want to be able to remove the game part of the game, of the app, in this case. And finally, I should maybe mention that we also want to add a handicapped mode. So if there are handicapped people coming, they have different paths to them, for them to be able to visit the site as well. And finally, we want to add sponsored quests. So let's take the railway station wants to promote herself, or maybe contribute to the app. She can add a quest, personalized quest, and maybe they have to go to the train station, and then they can maybe give out a voucher at the end of the quest, like for the bakery. And I should tell you again, try our demo, please. Nicola, sitting right there, will help you out. So what comes next? So first off, we are gathering funds. So at the moment, we are at the prototyping phase, and we are trying to gather funds. So the pastoral committee is in charge. If any of you here is interested, please take contact with me, and I will transfer to the right person to get more information. And then we are waiting for content. So that's one of the main issues today in Ursanne. If you go there today, there are very little information displayed. There are some cards, plastic cards in some place, but the information is not that pertinent. And there's the main topics, but there's a lot more to discover. The data is scattered around Bern, around in the Vatican as well. So we have to gather all the data and get historical experts to analyze it, synthesize it, and give it to us for us to make the most precise game we can. So what's our take-home message? So first off, our game will refurbish the city of Ursanne. Like I told you, at the moment, it's really poor in information. So it will surely, even if the game is bad, we will have way more information in it. And we want it to be the way to visit the site. We don't want to add guides to it. We just want our app to be the guide for the site. And finally, we want to see you in 2020 in Ursanne to discover the legacy of Ursanne. That's all for me. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay. Thank you very much, Christophe. One of the goals you already achieved, because I was not really aware of Ursanne. Now I have much deeper insights into that little town. One phrase, though, drew my attention while reading through your preceding paper. You were talking about 300 different items within the church, like paintings, cloths, cult objects, handwritten documents. And you're saying the preservation measures and the positioning of these objects must still be defined. So I'm very intrigued, like, how do you actually make the decision what are relevant objects which you want to valorize more? Especially in the fact because it's like a collaboration between the management, the engineering, and the preservation department. So how did that collaboration work out, or
we are not implicated in those choices, but we will use historical experts to already make a selection, and then it also depends on the state of the object, because they were poorly conserved, so it depends on what the restoration can do on them. So,
okay. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, Valérie.
Je peux la poser en français. Donc en fait, tu présentes le projet pour un endroit en particulier. J'imagine que le but, ce serait d'étendre, enfin je sais pas, mais je pense que le but, ce serait d'étendre ça à plusieurs endroits. Est-ce que vous avez, pour ce projet, vous avez pris contact avec les offices de tourisme qui existent déjà sur place pour savoir un peu sur quels éléments il est possible de communiquer?
So the management part of the school, gestion, took contact with the tourism office, but the communication didn't go that well. So we don't have much statistics actually about how many visitors visit the site at the moment. So that's a bit foggy right now. So yeah, they took contact, but I don't know. I think we'll have to move forward with them, find a way to collaborate, but it's not on the table at the moment.
Just as a compliment, you have to understand that Ursanne is really an official and quite high-ranked saint, which for the Vatican is very, very, very important. So you move your little finger, I don't know if you can say that in English. Anyway, you bouges ton petit doigt. It means like you just do a little thing and suddenly you say, oh no, you cannot do that. So it's very, very tricky, sensitive.
I want just to complement the question of my colleague. It's a navigation-based application. You are using it for these sites, but at least in the design and in the implementation, is it done in the way that it can be generic and it can be translated to other sites? I think this is the meaning of the question. It's not now, but is it done to be translated or easily translated for other sites?
Well, it's not planned to be at the moment since it's only a prototype. So we finished this prototype like a week ago, I think. So, but it's something that is clearly possible. The game mechanics are not that hard. I mean, technically, it's not that difficult. So it can be translated to other sites, of course.
Yeah, another question by Mila.
Thank you. Super interesting. I'm also really involved and interested in location-based games, and that's, I'm curious what is about your budget frame that you're aiming at, and where would you apply to get the money?
So I'm not sure, but I think I'm not allowed to disclose that. I'm not sure.
Like
have
roughly,
to ask
you know,
My boss is telling me no in the
under
background, so I guess.
20,000.
But
Yeah,
Just a rough estimation. I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
my boss is right here.
I will say how much we got afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you have to understand this project is not just the serious game part. So your question is it about the serious game or is it about the whole project? Okay, it's from, I would say, 2 to 300,000. No, 2 to 300,000.
Another question? Yes, maybe the last one, then we have to move on.
Thank you. Just one question about the more game about your app in general. Do you plan to insert more gamification part or more gaming experience in your app? Because right now it's like a GPS app for discovering something, but did you plan to add something else, like some elements, gaming elements or achievements or levels, something?
So yeah, we had some ideas because it's only a prototype right now. So the first game I talked about, we had some other ideas about mini games, maybe like puzzle games on the phone, etc. So that's definitely a possibility. At the moment, the prototype is very small, so we only have the AR component as a game element, let's say. We also want to make a scoring system, so to implement quests, and if you have to find the right answers and find the right path to succeed. So that's also still in discussion, and I guess we'll see. We still have 3 years to finish the project. Yeah. So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Christophe. Hereby the certificate of the conference. And I would like to invite Michel Widmer to the stage, who is going to talk about a new opportunity to young designers and artists hosted in Silicon Valley with a nice address, GSGS'17, in a dock, like close to the harbor. A laboratory for interactive experiments, objects and tools in Silicon Valley, and I'm curious to know more about this project.